Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to day two of Vision to Wealth. I'm thrilled that you're back. I'm thrilled to see you guys. I feel like this is going to be such a juicy part of the puzzle and of this masterclass series. So, again, congratulations that you're carving out the time for yourself and doing this and gifting this time and space to yourself because this is part of actually growing and becoming this new version that you're claiming to become in 2026. And so I just want to quickly recap that yesterday we worked on the foundation that I just know is the foundation to everything. It's regulation, it's the capacity, and the receiving. These three parts, they are going hand in hand. And because nothing you desire, you can achieve, or nothing you desire can actually land if your system is braced and overwhelmed and in survival. So, slowly but surely, implementing the exercises and tools that I shared with you yesterday will make a difference and will help you become more receptive and, you know, really calling in more opportunities and wealth for the upcoming year. And so today, we are going to do the next step together, which is shifting your wealth identity and creating a 2026 vision that you can actually hold. And so, this is not vision boarding. So, don't confuse it with that tool, even though I love it and I've done it before. And there was a moment in my life when I had so amazing results that I actually hosted vision board workshops, which was fun to do because I was still excited about some really big manifestations, including a beachfront house in Thailand and so on and so forth. So I was like, okay, vision boarding it is. However, I must say, and this is a little bit of a storyline here, but a story hour. It's not the one tool. There's not the one tool that will do the trick, right? Already this mindset or this framing um, of achieving your goals, of becoming the version of yourself is not correctly used. And so I love to have you become to understand that there's so much more to it. It's a holistic approach, and this is how I work with my clients. It's not the one thing, it's not the one strategy, it's not the one mindset shift, it's not the one morning routine. It's everything together, right? It's everything together, and it starts with yourself, with the inner work, with your nervous system, and then you can take step number two. But it's many steps, and it's the consistent repetition. I think I made this clear yesterday that then creates opportunities and a foundation, like a rich soil for your seeds to land and be able to grow so that you later on can harvest. So it's really like nature is such a great example for this process of wealth creation. And so, again, it's not vision boarding, but we are going to do some identity-based manifestation techniques, and I'll walk you through a framework that will help you, and that is the work that actually changes you or changes what you believe you're allowed to have. And it sounds sometimes so ridiculous. And I know I get it. I've been there. I was like, no, 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 I truly want this. I want this. And there's everything I do is for this. But exactly you and yourself and this old identity or this current identity sometimes is really in the way. And today it's changing time day. So quick recap again. Yesterday we did explore how a desire without capacity creates contraction. Okay. The capacity to hold, the capacity to really ease in and believe it. Um, and today we explore how this desire without identity alignment actually creates sabotage. So it's really nuanced, a nuanced next step, but it's different and it helps you to now move the needle forward. And so perhaps you're wondering, or maybe it's already very clear, but I want to quickly have the conversation around why identity matters so much. And I know that some people say, once I have the money, I will change my clothes, my looks. Once I have the money, I will be happy. Once I have the money, or once I have the partner, once I have goal, really fill in the blanks, then I will change. Then I will feel better. And that is exactly why it won't work, why you are not getting to where you want to get, and why your identity matters so much, because it is actually the baseline. It's the baseline your nervous system returns to whenever things expand. Okay. And this is so crucial to understand because you cannot manifest beyond the identity you live from. Or if you do by accident, which sometimes happens, and people really have this fortune fall into their lap, they lose it very quickly too. They can't hold it. And I talked about this yesterday. So if you haven't watched day one, then I invite you to really go back and watch the replay, work on that, revisit it, go through the activation, do the exercises. And maybe you're not ready for day two yet. That's always a possibility. You have access to these replays until the end of the year. So don't stress if it doesn't feel right to move forward yet. And so just another example, or some lines that you may relate to, or maybe not, but these are good examples to understand the concept of this. Because if someone says, or if your identity says, I'm someone who works hard for money, right? I need to hustle to get money. I kind of like have to earn my way to prosperity. Or if you say good things don't last, or good things, you know, go quicker than they come, or I can't handle too much at once, you are communicating this out to the universe. And then your body, what it does to your brain, it's like science. It's not woo-woo talk. And I hope that has become clear in yesterday's session. It's it's scientifically proven that then this triggers to your brain and your nervous system that it simply feels unsafe to go for the goal that you might desire, and your body will pull back, um, pull you back to what feels familiar. Okay, and so this is why you maybe sometimes feel like one step forward, two steps back, because you're still in this contradiction phase of saying something but then not believing it, or saying something and not doing or acting and really embodying what you actually want to call in. And so wealth identity is equal to the internal blueprint of who you believe you are in relation to receiving, holding, and growing wealth. Okay, that is really something that I want you to understand, because it is so, yeah, important that we do not skip that step and don't think that we can cater to this part of the creation of the wealth creation, or of the wealth receiving of this whole new wealth level of yours. We cannot tend to this later. It is the now, it is the now and now. So every thought that you're thinking right now actually matters already for the future that you're calling in. And so if the identity isn't updated, the reality won't stick. I hope this is clear. This sometimes you have to sometimes hear those things over and over again. And I know I had this, I've done so much work on myself, and I feel like when I look back to 3, 5 years back to myself and the version that I was back then, I would probably have listened to myself speaking now, thinking, on some certain level, this does make sense, but then it doesn't really sink. And so today is just also about accepting whatever lands with you today is perfect. Yeah. So don't stress if some of the things that I say might be out of reach or might not feel true. It doesn't really matter because you're here for a reason and your subconsciousness will still, you know, save this information and store it for you so that when you're ready, you can tap into this. And it's really powerful that coming back and sometimes, when life happens and you get introduced to certain people or you come back to certain situations, how you then are capable of realizing, oh wow, I wouldn't have been able to actually hear it. I hear it completely different today than I was hearing it back in the day, when I already had the opportunity to think about this topic, but now I'm ready for it. So honor the season that you're in, honor yourself, and don't judge, don't criticize yourself, because this is also part of the self-love, which is such a big element and crucial part of receiving and being this wealthy person. So be really kind and empathetic with yourself. This absolutely matters. And I want to give you a few examples to maybe help you self-recognize and see where these identity conflicts might still happen. And so if you relate to one of them or some of them, just know that it's not your mindset. This is really identity regulation, what we're doing here today. And that is the part of manifestation that no one actually really teaches out there. I don't know how you can access this type of coaching when it comes to like in the realms of business coaching, but it was the number one key that when once that puzzle piece fell into place, I was like mind blown how I could not have seen it before, and how every time I coach someone through this, it's the exact same effect. So if you say, for example, I want more money, but also say, I'm afraid of being judged if I become wealthy. Hmm. There is this conflict going on. I want ease, but at the same time, if it's easy, I didn't earn it. Who can relate? I was there. Like, honestly, yes, absolutely. I want to grow, but I'll lose myself, or people won't like the new me. Like, the fear of becoming a new version and then not being liked is so big. Trust me, especially when you have to put yourself out there and you're putting yourself out there for your mission, for your business. And that judgment, this little voice in yourself, inside your mind and your head says, "Oh, what if they don't like me now?" Now, right? That is a big one as well. And it's that conflict going on that keeps you in the pull and push, and two steps to the front and three steps backwards. I want success, but you also say, I won't be able to keep it up because you're already doubting your capacity, your capability of being that amazing person that you are. Okay, so these are the conflict examples that you may or may not relate to. You're more than welcome to just sit down, pause this recording, come back to it if you want, and really journal on it. What is it actually that I think is holding me back? And the clarity that comes with that is powerful. And now, for the next couple of minutes, I would like to again just go on, even though I'm not a fan of looking into the negative side of things, or analyzing too much about why isn't it working. But I really feel like if we do not um, if we do not spend some time becoming aware of the capacity versus vision, and why your vision hasn't worked before, then you might end up repeating old mistakes. You might up, repeating old patterns that kept you stuck in the past. But you do not want to repeat them again. So awareness is really key. And so most women create visions that their body cannot hold. And I've said that before, but I want you to hear it because I don't want you to think that they do not deserve it or they are not worthy. They might not even believe that they're not worthy, but subconsciously there's something going on. And that is that because it feels unfamiliar, simple as that, right? You can judge someone for not manifesting something that is so out of their comfort zone, because it's unfamiliar, because it's unsafe, or it's too much. Okay, so a regulated identity can receive bigger visions without going into shutdown. So this is also something really crucial. So I'm not saying that you cannot quantum leap. I'm not saying that you cannot manifest those miracle things. Like, oh my goodness, who was I when I manifested a beach house? Honestly, not in a position to pay for it. Honestly, not in a position to really say I had my shit together. No, I was still working through a lot of the trauma, a lot of the, identity, old identities that I wanted and let behind myself. But here I was. And I think my biggest takeaway from that manifestation was truly trusting my intuition more and going into all in on cutting out the noise. So I was very committed to making it work and not hustling for it and not earning it. So I leaned back and I said, all right, if I'm that great, universe, come and prove it to me. Yeah, and I listened to a lot of Abraham Hicks audios, and I was getting into my, yeah, almost like on a day-to-day basis. I would be in meditative state throughout the day, riding my scooter around the island where we used to live in Thailand, and having her in my ear. And you can find so many people that you relate to on online. Comment below if you want to share, if you want me to share my favorite ones. But it doesn't actually matter what I listen to. It actually is what you need to, and what you then also find as you go through that process of, oh, right now, I would just like something to, some meditation or some guided process. And and I guarantee you, YouTube reads your mind, or your soul blueprint, you will find it. And and yet, of course, there's some recommended videos and audios that I can shoot over. Maybe I make a note to add this to this guide section. But coming now to the most juicy part of this today's masterclass is I want to deep dive into the 2026 vision framework. And honestly, if you listen to this and it's, halfway through 2026, then do not worry. You can start this process, or you can always start. It's never too late. And it's not that only if you listen to this masterclass or this teaching that I'm about to share with you, if it's December 2025, it doesn't matter, right? So it's just a very great intentional moment throughout the year. And because of the stars and astrological reasons, right now, December 2025 is actually a very aligned month for visioning and for intention setting. So we're going into the year of the horse, and leaving the snake here behind, which is amazing. We've shared it, we let go, we, slither through some pitfalls, maybe obstacles, and now we're ready to run. And we have this powerful year ahead of us. So it's a perfect moment to really pause, reflect, and go into the next year with intention. And this is really the heart of day two. So the 2026 vision framework is the structure that turns your desire, or any desire that you have, into a direction. Okay. And a direction into a plan you can actually walk with confidence. And that is very, very important to understand as well, because we can make plans all the time, right? And I don't know if you know this or have done it before, but there has to be some sort of connection to that plan, and you have to back it up with that confidence that I just mentioned. So here it is. Again, my invitation to pause this at any time when you feel like, oh, something needs to be like out of my head onto a paper, then do this if you want to take notes, but also know that you have access to this replay, so don't stress. Maybe also be present. Sometimes writing is distracting. So take this coaching in and then do your work afterwards. Pillar number one, it's 4 pillars in total that I walked you through. And that is the framework that will help you with that vision and a plan that you can actually walk with confidence. Okay. Now, your identity blueprint, because that is pillar number one and maybe the foundation. So you can either look at it as a system that is next to each other. But if I were to say that there's one pillar that is the foundation, and then it's this, that is your identity blueprint, which is which is everything that needs to be in place. And the most important part of this whole system or this framework, before any strategy works, the identity behind it must be aligned. I am such a big advocate and fan of, and I'm living this. Like I know that I can listen to people's strategies, business models, whatever it is. And sometimes I get even these days, I'm sometimes, attracted to the shiny object and oh, what if I try this out? But it doesn't matter the strategy, right? So we have to be really aware of that. So now let's explore this a little bit. So you wanna know exactly and journal on it and really have a very, very clear understanding of who you are becoming in 2026 or and fill in the time that you are going to set yourself up. Clarity here is the key word, okay? Because you can say something like, oh yeah, I want to become a wealthy woman. It's too vague. It's not gonna like do anything. It's like putting into your GPS system, I want to go to Italy. Okay, cool. Where? Where exactly? We need the direction. We need at least one clear parameter that helps you and your GPS system to understand where you're going. And then the energetic version of you who naturally receives what you're calling in. And by this, I mean, instead of asking, what should I do? You shift into the question, who am I when these results are normal? And that is powerful, like really powerful. If you have an answer to this, you're halfway there. And then think about the habits. Look at other people who you are admiring, who you feel like those are role models for you. What are the habits? What habits do you feel like you want to establish, get rid of, um, that you can actually commit to? Standards and boundaries that match that identity that you're calling in and claiming to become. Because this creates a stable internal compass for every decision. And it doesn't matter. Like what you say in business later, if you say, for example, I'm hosting a 3-day masterclass, okay, and then you're not following through, or you say it and halfway through you don't do it. um, that is probably a pattern. That's probably a habit or something like a personality trait that you also can find and identify in other areas of your life. Oh yeah, let's meet up on, at the weekend. Oh yeah, children, sure, we're gonna go to that zoo, the park, or whatever activity, and then you're not following through. So look at that in a more holistic and global way, and don't think that only, the identity work that we're doing here is going to affect your business. It's actually everything. You are becoming a new version. And only when you are at this next level version of yourself, all the areas of your life fall into place magically. It's just what it is, okay? Now, Pillar number two, I think and ask me in the chats, ask me if you're catching the replay, if you have any questions around pillar number one, your identity blueprint. If that isn't well enough explained, if there's any more questions, I'm happy to go further, but I feel like I want to move on because we still have quite a bit of content to cover. Okay, so now we want to create and talk about your vision map. So what does that mean? Pillar number two is all about the, again, clarity, because most women, what I see is they have a blurry vision. They know the feeling they want, maybe kind of maybe also see the goal. Sometimes it's a bit of both. Sometimes it's only the goal, not the feeling. Or, but there's no architecture. And this step here, pillar number two, this is a step that makes the vision concrete by clarifying the following. It's first of all, well, and this is again, like we're talking about business. I'm a business coach, so I'm helping you with your business, but you can apply and implement this process for more than your business, right? If you are, if you were to call in a next version, or your wealth in the area of relationships works too. But now let's talk about the concrete vision by, for your business, and you have to clarify your business model. What do you want to, how do you want to work? What is it? What lights you up the most? Is it, um, you know, obviously here it's all about online. So do you have a group program? Do you have a big mastermind program? Do you have digital products, passive income? Do you have, in-person retreats? Do you have a affiliate referral program? Do you go, there's so many ways, and there's just one way for you. Not because you cannot have different ways, but there's this most aligned business model for you. And let's talk about it. How is this going to look like for you in 2026? Okay. And you can sit down really analyzing the things that you've tried, the things that you're seeing other people doing on the internet, in your close proximity network, in spaces like these. Just look at it. Is this for me? And write it down. That's not for me. That doesn't feel right. Okay. So you can like really go through the different types of business models like this. And that is what I can cover today in detail, because it would, like, this is a whole program that I'm teaching my clients inside Launch Like a Leader. There's a group program where I really go through a business model setup and the variations of it. But you have the knowledge to explore this already by, looking and observing what's around you. And so another really important point is how your offers support your life vision. Okay, because let's say, for example, you want to impact the world by making the world a better place, supporting couples or families, growing more together. So this is this overall life vision where you feel like being called and working in this section, and what offer fits underneath and help support this vision is really crucial, because you could go so many ways. And sometimes people really create offers that are very unrelated to each other. And that then does either distract you, derail you, get you away from the overall life vision. And so it's, again, it's very important to be clear on what's your life vision and where you want to be visible and why. This is also something that most people don't even know, like the why behind being visible for certain, like in the circles of certain people. Why is it so important to you? Who are your people? And, not because you want to be the most important person in that room. And this is like a metaphor, of course, for a big, you can go global, but if you're never going to be, I don't want to say never, because they're really literally those examples where you go global. But let's stay with your ideal people. and why does it matter for you? Okay. So that's a question to answer. And you do not need to think that just because you're having like this heart-centered approach to business, this empathetic approach to business, that money doesn't matter. We all come in with this different angle when like at least people in my world and including myself, I'm not here leading with how do I make the most money, right? If I were, I would do things very differently. I'm coming in and I attract women mainly and the odd male client too, who really come in with that question, how can I carry my mission and the make the biggest impact to help people transform with my gifts, with my secret sauce, with my specialty, with my experience, with my story, and do not worry about how is it going to monetize. But then also you want to kind of see how your work can sustain your life, your revenue goals that really match your lifestyle. At least have some sort of numbers so that you do not end up being broke by changing the world. That's also not smart business. And I'm not not your girl when it comes to gifting things or undervaluing your work. It's really defining measurable, trackable outcomes without losing the soul of your vision. It's a combination, and so that's why maybe my favorite thing to say is I'm always all about the yin and yang and the combination of feminine energetics and masculine um, strategies. Like this is needs to be the dance. So this was pillar number two, and this is where your desire becomes, or the desires become coordinates on a map, right? It's like bing, 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 bing. You see it in front of you and you say desire number one, two, three, have them outlined and then have a clear pathway. How do you get there? How do I impact the most? What would it make, what would it make me feel appreciated while contributing? Because the more you earn, you can overflow and then also pour into other people. It's such a logical thing, and we just need to come back to this truth, right? Or sometimes just be reminded over and over again. Now, pillar number three, the strategic pathway. Here we go, right? So once the vision is defined and once we reverse engineer it, we can actually see the steps towards it. And it's with offer creation and it's with these overall vision creations, it's always best to know the North Star, the GPS location, and then reverse engineer backwards from this. So this is the practical side of things. And, here you can really sit down and I have, I do work with spreadsheets and lists and things. If that helps you too, and please start working with it. Send me a message, slide into my DMs if you do want a copy of the ones that I'm using. But what really needs to happen in a business, this is a business. You are the CEO of a business, so you have to really know and understand the numbers and what must happen each quarter. Okay? What systems and structures do you need to build so that you can actually reach those goals? And what skills or maybe support you'll need in order to get there? Because if you say you want to host in-person retreats on a tropical island and you live in the USA, there might be something that isn't in place yet. You might hire a team and to scout your location. You might hire someone who's actually an event organizer and helps you set up retreats. Or even more simple, if you do not know how to create a funnel in your back end, then you might outsource this as well, right? So what can you do or what do you want to learn and have to learn so that you can actually skillfully outsource it to other people? And what is something that you really do not want to learn and prefer to outsource? These are the things that you really need to be clear on. Plus, what can you automate or what can be simplified or eliminated altogether? These are also very, repeated questions that you can ask yourself. And I always love doing them each quarter, at the end of each quarter, like the looking back, what's working, what's not working, what doesn't feel aligned, what still feels aligned, what's actually amazing. Let's double down on that. Who do I need to hire to make more out of what is happening here? And so you are creating, or you learn how to create a timeline that avoids burnout and actually keeps you in alignment. Okay, so this is really important. And it is something that may not be yet in your default system because you have just started out as an online entrepreneur, but it becomes a step-by-step runway to land your vision. And if you're here today in this present moment, then it will become a runway, the step-by-step runway for your 2026 vision. Okay. Now, fourth pillar, and the last one for today. And then we are really through a lot of information. And I know that this is a lot, but you can always pause and come back. It's the embodied execution. Okay. So this final pillar is really to ensure momentum and staying consistent. And it's probably, if I'm quite honest, sometimes the most challenging one, even when you're already an established entrepreneur, but really coming to this emotional capacity work, coming back and back again and again, training that muscle and having those rituals in place to keep your nervous system regulated. I used to be a workaholic. I hustled myself in my 20s into near burnout syndrome. And I repeated the same pattern when I started full-time traveling around the world in my 30s. I saw, and now in hindsight, I see that I repeated it just in a different like context. But now I've done the work and I see this. And even though I've done so much work, I sometimes can also catch myself almost going back to doing more might lead to more. And I now have established boundaries and rules and rituals to actually not do it. But I can see how my mind sometimes wanders and says, wouldn't it be more efficient if I double down on simply more hours? And so you need to know yourself and you need to find rituals to actually keep your nervous system regulated. Um, your lean back self in place. And I'm not saying that, sitting and meditating and journaling all day will get you to the goals. No, it's a combination. I hope this is clear. It's a combination of both, right? But it's weekly reflections. Find the reflection prompts that work best for you. Stick to them. Have a journal. Really go through the journal and see how much has shifted. What am I repeating? What is coming up for me over and over again? Work on that. It's tracking tools. It's really the tools and the things, the rituals and habits that you're creating so that you know what's working and what's not, what's blocking you. And so this turns the vision into a living practice, not a one-time exercise. I always say with spiritualities or embodiment practices or this personal development work is not like it would be like showering once and then you say I'm clean forever. No, it's not. It's a daily practice. And sometimes we get dirty and messy and then a deeper bath is required. But yeah, so don't just plan your 2026. Really learn how to walk it with steadiness and regulation and confidence. I really want you to anchor this in. It's not about sitting down and doing something. No, it's really everything that I just talked about. Okay, so this framework work unlocks, if done right, today you really should be able to see what you want, what what you want, why you want it, and then also who you must become in order to get it, right? and the exact steps that are required to bring it to life. So this is the framework, and there's no more vague intentions, no more abstract manifestations or unclear strategy. It's really all about grounded, soul-aligned planning for a year of expansion. Woohoo! Isn't that exciting? I feel. I really wish for you that this lands, and I'm very excited to hear what lands for you. So before we go into the guided meditation for today, maybe you need to pause this. Maybe you want to really make sure that you are in a quiet space right now. Tell your kids to leave you alone for another 10 minutes, even less. It's not a long meditations. These are intended to be, practical, even though meditation is more fruitful and really something that I encourage you to do as long as at least 30 minutes a day in the morning. But right now, for the sake of this masterclass, I'm giving you something that is a bit of a visioning meditation, an embodied vision meditation to help you add to this puzzle piece that we talked about today. Okay, so close your eyes if this feels comfortable. Lean back, maybe find a spot where you can lay down and really, really, really shut everything off. Have your phone switched off and ease into this moment where you can just be and listen to my voice and just allow yourself to be here. Place a hand on your heart and the other hand on your belly, and take one deep breath in, and then hold at the top of your lungs before you release a deep, long release. Let's do this together 3 times. Take a deep breath in, hold at the top, and exhale. One more time. Deep breath in, hold at the top, and release. Last time. Deep breath in, hold at the top, and let go. Now I invite you to imagine you are gently stepping into the energy of December 2026. Not rushing or pushing. It's not about getting there at speed. It's just arriving. Let your shoulders drop and let your breath slow, even one little bit further down. See yourself as the woman who has become the version of 1 year from now. She's grounded, clear, regulated, open to receiving. Notice where she lives. Notice what her mornings feel like. Notice how she moves and, see how she walks. Slow, intentional, but certain. Even picture her with the clothes that she's wearing, See how she handles challenges with steadiness instead of panic. And really see how she leads her life, her business, her family, relationships. Take another deep breath in. And now let yourself receive 3 pieces of clarity from her. One being what she no longer tolerates, what she prioritizes now. And what does she believe about wealth, success, and herself? And let the answers come without forcing. Breathe in and out. Ask her one final question. What did you stop doing, believing, or caring in order to become me? And let her show you. Take another deep breath in. Seal this identity in your body. Exhale with a sigh. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and come back to today, anchoring in this feeling of, wow, this is really possible. I just met my future self. I invite you to write down and really take a moment after this. Write down anything that came up through the short visualization practice and anything that you notice, if it's like sensations, images, messages. It's, this is not imagination. This is your identity speaking, and let her tell you what she knows. Tap into this inner wisdom. And so I'll let you go. I want you to stay in this frequency, hold on to this for a little longer, so don't rush away. But I would like for you to really do some homework before our next call and write down your identity statement of 2026. I am a woman who, fill in the blanks. It can be 5 to, I'd say, maximum 10 lines. Don't go over. It's just like about this clear statement of who you are becoming, and write your 2026 non-negotiables, because these are part of that new identity that you're claiming. And so can be what your regulated wealthy identity does not tolerate anymore, right? So non-negotiables. Write your identity statement, your non-negotiables, and then something so powerful, and this might be awkward at first, but this is a bonus homework piece, which can really move the needle. I would love for you to just record a 2-minute voice note to yourself and reading your identity statement in your own voice. When you listen to this every morning, over and over again, over the next 30 days, you will see a shift. And I can guarantee you, your brain is starting to believe it more and more go deeper, and the reality just shifts to find evidence that this is you, the new you. I so hope this landed, this was helpful. And tomorrow is the last day. It's where we do more integration, where we actively manifest and talk about consistency again. And this is really where your vision becomes something that you can repeat and sustain, and not something that you will lose in January or you'll forget about by March. Yes, I really want this to be your next like yeah, this is the work, so that you have a roadmap and something that you can from now until forever keep with you. So make sure to be caught up with the replays. If you weren't here live today, then please watch the replays before you dive into day 3. And thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your time, for your presence, and I shall see you tomorrow.